Hello everybody. Today I want to introduce you to our latest feature, which is our GitHub Copilot extension. This extension allows you to basically interface with Poly through GitHub Copilot chat. Why this is important is because it normalizes the user experience for GitHub Copilot users so that they have a single user interface that they can use to access many different functionalities or AI agents. Our AI agent is specialized in helping you find API functions, event handlers, and use those in code when you're building integrations, microservices, and orchestrations. GitHub Copilot, however, is a more general purpose tool, and I'm sure they have great integrations with GitHub repos, searching your code base, and other capabilities like that. There's going to be lots of different partners that are going to build great extensions to make it an even more powerful ecosystem. And we're just one of those partners. About a year ago, Dan and I wrote this Copilot white paper laying out the difference between Poly and Copilot and how we see them ultimately working together. In this last section, we laid out the vision, which we're finally taking and realizing today. I would like to just show you a quick demo of how it works. Basically, you're having your GitHub Copilot chat conversation, and you have the ability to @mention different extensions. So, like I said, we're just one of those extensions. I don't have any other ones installed here, but you can say, hey, @GitHub, @Terminal, @VS Code, @PolyAPI. These are the ones that come out of the box, with the exception of PolyAPI, which I've installed through the marketplace that GitHub Copilot offers. And here, I can say something like, how do I get location data for Paris using Google Maps? As you can see, I've already been having a conversation with it, asking questions about how I can send emails using SendGrid. The beauty of these two services working together is that our unified catalog, which represents all the capabilities that your enterprise has to take advantage of, can now be leveraged in conjunction with questions or support or debugging or whatever you're using Copilot for with your internal enterprise code base. I think this makes the two services much more powerful together. We could see here that we've got a nice example generated by Poly. I'll go ahead and inject it into my code. And we can see that it's syntactically correct, that the Poly function it found and uses is accurate. And now we can actually go ahead and invoke it. Now you can see that it's asked us for our Google Maps key. So I'll go ahead and ask Poly, what is our Google Maps API key? Yeah, as it's a secret, you can see that Poly doesn't like to share it. So let me ask a slightly different question. Okay, so you can see it's found our Google Maps. I think this is a typo I did from another demo, and it's actually gone ahead and injected it in there so we can take advantage of it. So you can see it here on this line. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this, inject this new example, and then we'll go ahead and execute it. And we can see that we get the formatted address, latitude, longitude, as our code here has it printing. So that's just a simple introduction. There's the whole extensibility capability from GitHub Copilot is still rather new. So for example, you have to go through a bit of a process to set your Poly API key so that Copilot has it securely. Also, you have to deal with the fact that Copilot has its own conversation history and Poly has its own conversation history, and at this moment they don't perfectly line up. So you kind of have these two states for conversation history. So that's another area of improvement. And then the last area of improvement that we saw was that Copilot is kind of unique to you as a person. So it carries your conversations on a per person basis, and it doesn't expose the information about what project you're working in, whereas Poly is set up to be able to have multiple keys for a given developer on a different per project basis. So there are just some of these kind of functional models that are a little bit different that we still have to work through, and hopefully we'll share with the GitHub Copilot team, and hopefully they'll take our requests into consideration. But I'm really excited about this. There's a lot of great capabilities, like being able to just tell it what you want, attach files, provide context, things that we're not even taking advantage of at this point. That just opens up a ton of opportunities and ultimately saves our development team effort. If we're able to standardize on this and maybe a few other agents, our team is going to be able to focus on more so the integration services, the back end, all the cataloging, development productivity, and we don't have to spend extra effort building this extension on a per IDE basis. We'll just kind of get to ride on top of the work that the GitHub Copilot team does. So that's a big win for us once we're able to work out some of these kind of fundamental model issues. But it's definitely good enough to try, good enough to use. Like I said, there's just a couple of hoops you'll have to jump through, but it's honestly very testable, very usable. So we definitely encourage you to try it out and give us your feedback. With that, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this demo.